Amazing transformation. How one birthday candle sparked an inspiring connection with a billionaire. Lisa sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the worn-out birthday decorations scattered across the floor. Toys passed down from better days, and a dusty cardboard box held brightly colored paper and a single glittery candle. Tonight, the few scraps of joy and laughter might be all that Emily remembered for her 7th birthday. A celebration strangled by poverty, yet brightened with dreams of better tomorrows. With 2 jobs to juggle, who was she to expect anything more? The weight of responsibility on her shoulders felt near unbearable. She battled a sinking dread that she'd fail to give her daughter even that tiny happiness. The diner closed late last night, leaving Lisa fatigued but resolute. She had to make a change, shift whatever weight she could manage just enough so that she could at least offer Emily that simple cake. With hands trembling, she arranged the last of the recycled paper plates, each one a reminder of their limited means. Yet somewhere deep within, a flicker of determination ignited. How could she complain? Tonight was about Emily. The laughter would outweigh their struggles if even just for a moment. As she lit the candle, half-heartedly wishing for a miracle, Lisa found herself wrestling with feelings that felt wrong to harbor. Beneath her unwavering determination lay a pang of anguish pushing against her gut. The fear that no matter how hard she worked, what future could she offer Emily? A longing for success echoed inside her, but it was chased by frustration and anger at a system that rewarded the successful without regard for single mothers like her. Before she could spiral deeper, there was a knock at the door. Hesitantly, she opened it to find a man whose name dominated the headlines. But he was just a face, a stranger to her struggling world. Jack, a billionaire who had paved his way through a life she barely concepted. The absurdity of it paralyzed her. What could he want with her? Did he even know how she fought for the scraps of every dollar? But she let him in, unable to resist the bemusement of something so surreal. "Happy birthday!" He smiled at Emily, whose eyes sparkled brighter than the flame of the candle. Their laughter washed over her like a glowing light, yet inside she trembled with uncertainty. This stranger was a reminder of the life she wanted, but could scarcely imagine. Could she allow him into their fragile world without fear? Could he shatter whatever life they'd built? What if he offered help, and then pulled away when it was inconvenient, leaving her even more stranded? She fumbled into conversations, disbelief competing with hope. Each exchange spun tightly around her heart. What would it look like if a billionaire cared? Could that be real? Lisa's breath quickened, each laugh becoming a reminder that this moment, this fleeting instance of joy, felt like the kind of blessing she was nearly too terrified to accept. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they shared their first slice of cake, she couldn't escape the gnawing questions that bubbled deep. What if he couldn't fathom their realities? What if all he could ever see were dollar signs? At what cost would he really be able to help? Jack's warmth masked something ominously unfamiliar. What had initially felt like a blessing quickly morphed into a trap, a precarious tightrope walk of decisions looming over them, stirring Lisa's spirit while feeding her fear. And yet, the candle flickered defiantly as Emily beamed, her innocence wedged between these two worlds, and Lisa felt like a contender against the shadows of despair. Now she didn't just wish for a better future for her daughter. The stakes were far higher. Would Jack's presence become salvation, or a mere reflection of her struggles she had yet to overcome? The questions spiraled, pulling her deeper into uncertainty as the laughter echoed around them, leaving her feeling more divided than ever. The laughter gradually faded, and Lisa found herself alone in the kitchen, eyes drawn to the pile of leftover cake. Emily's giddy excitement, vibrant with the ephemeral nature of childhood, clung to the air, but Lisa wrestled with a different kind of sweetness, the burgeoning suspicion that her life was shifting, the contours of her daily grind morphing under the weight of an unlikely encounter. Jack lingered, still immersed in conversation with Emily, as Lisa prepared the remnants of the party. She could hear their giggles, an innocent symphony anchored in happiness, but she couldn't shake the edginess that crept into her mind. Was Jack merely putting on a show, or had he truly come to help? Uncertainty clouded her thoughts, but alongside it, a flicker of ambition ignited. Perhaps this was the door she had been too stubborn to notice, a chance to reshape her reality. As the night wore on, Timmy, the diner's cook, called. His deep voice broke her reverie. "Got a new offer for you, Lisa. A few more hours next week if you're interested." The prospect almost felt like a trap. More hours, more exhaustion. Yet it also signified stability, enough to pay the rent, and perhaps afford a couple of new clothes for Emily. But when she glanced over at Jack, she remembered how he epitomized the kind of success she could only dream of. Time to dream bigger, she whispered to herself, but grappled with the tension between aspiration and the nagging safety of her current routine. Returning to the living room, she caught the last glow of Emily's eyes, brightening against Jack's warm smile. "Lisa, can we talk?" Jack asked, and the gravity of those words pulled her into a decision with unanticipated implications. What could they possibly discuss? Her mind raced through all the reasons she should decline. What could a billionaire possibly want from her, a single mother surviving on tips and a meager paycheck? But there was also the tremor of excitement, a wild thought that maybe he wanted to invest in her dreams, to build a bridge between their worlds. As she joined them, she prepared herself with the practiced resolve of someone who always had to stand her ground. "What's on your mind?" she asked, tension crackling in her voice. It felt audacious to ask straight out, but something inside her urged her to confront the discomfort head-on. Jack's smile softened, revealing a flicker of vulnerability behind his lavish exterior. "I was genuinely impressed by how you handled tonight. I'd like to help you, Lisa. You have something special, and I believe you could do more great things." Lisa's heart thudded. Help? Was this charity? Many would see it as such, but she was not looking for pity. What does that look like? The words escaped, sharp, demanding, and with that undertone of defiance she'd always nurtured. "I can connect you with people who can guide you in starting your own business," he offered, his steady gaze unwavering. "You have the spark. It can be so much more." Doubt twisted in her gut. "And what's your angle? Why me?" She felt a flicker of panic at the thought of becoming the centerpiece of someone else's agenda. What if his intentions were cloaked behind a self-serving guise? His expression remained earnest, yet she could almost feel the breath of a different life curling around the edges of her reality. Every moment in her past echoed with the struggles of self-reliance. And now, standing here, stakes felt higher than a simple partnership. "Because, Lisa, I see potential. It reminds me of my own beginnings," he replied, his voice low and sincere. But was he merely offering a lifeline or tempting her into unfamiliar waters that could drown her dreams? With every heartbeat, the balance of control shifted, ignition sparking a sense of accountability deep within her. Could she blaze her path amidst doubt, or would she find herself once more under the weight of unfulfilled promises? Their staring contest bore on, each silent moment ratcheting up the throbbing urgency between them. As the candle flickered its last light, Lisa felt the ghost of her former self clash with newfound ambition. Maybe this was the moment she had longed for, the opportunity to transform adversity into achievement. But at what cost? And in that instant, the unfiltered essence of uncertainty followed her lips. "I need time to think," she declared, wrestling with the gravity of what lay ahead. Would she dare dive deeper into this uncertain alliance? or would she play it safe once more? Just as Jack opened his mouth to respond, her phone buzzed, lighting up the darkness with the latest news. A company offering a scholarship for aspiring entrepreneurs flashed across her screen. The universe, it seemed, was pushing her. But was she ready to answer the call? Lisa sat in the aftermath of the party, the hum of laughter fading, replaced by the steady ticking of the clock that seemed to echo her thoughts. The news on her phone flashed brightly in the dim light, a beacon of possibilities whispering to her aspirations. The scholarship opportunity was tailored exactly for someone like her, a single mother with a heart full of dreams and hands tied by circumstance. Yet, the shimmering allure of potential dimmed slightly under the weight of her insecurities. What did she really want? The question echoed in her mind like a mantra, amplifying her internal conflict. Her life had been built around the constants of safety and predictability. The diner hours, the familiar faces, Emily's smile. And yet, the refuge that routine offered now felt like shackles. Jack's proposal loomed larger than the remnants of cake she could no longer savor. Every part of her wanted to dismiss the idea, to think of it as a fleeting fantasy. But there was something in Jack's gaze when he spoke to her, a depth that conveyed understanding. Perhaps he genuinely saw her. She closed her eyes, imagining what it would be like to reach for that dream. The thought was oddly intoxicating, a taste of freedom that had been missing for too long. Coping was not enough anymore. She wanted to thrive, to carve out a space for herself that transcended mere survival. As the clock continued its relentless march, a wave of realization rolled over her. If she were to keep turning down opportunities because of fear, she would remain in her current life, no matter how daunting it seemed to change. But could she truly step into the unknown? She understood the risks involved, especially with a person like Jack who thrived in high-stakes worlds far removed from her own. Her phone buzzed again, a reminder of the scholarship deadline. It was more than a call to action. It was a push of the universe daring her to take a risk. The mere possibility of stepping into the arena of entrepreneurship compelled her. This was her chance to reclaim the narrative of her life. With deliberation, she rose and took her phone to the table. Texting Jack might seem like a small act, but the implications felt monumental. She hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen, her heart racing. And then she felt it, a quiet sense of resolve settling in. Jack, I've been thinking. Perhaps we could talk more about your offer. The words felt strange but liberating as they typed themselves. She hit send, her breath caught in her throat. The seconds stretched into eternity before a response pinged back. Absolutely. I'll give you a call tomorrow. I can't wait to see how we can make this happen for you. Anticipation coursed through her veins, igniting a fire that had dimmed for too long. But there was still a gnawing fear lurking beneath the excitement. Would she be able to handle the pressure that came with pursuing something as ambitious as her own business? To counter that doubt, Lisa reminded herself of the resilience ingrained in her. She had faced adversities before, each one a stepping stone that had shaped the person she was today. She could do this. Somehow she would find a way to combine the chaos of motherhood and the discipline required to run a business. She'd make a plan, establish priorities, and bring Emily along every step of the way, showing her that dreams were not just for other people. The first step would be to research the scholarship, tailoring her application to showcase both her background and her vision. Lisa made a vow to herself. She would put everything she had into it, using every tool at her disposal to emerge victorious. As the night deepened, uncertainty morphed into determination. The next morning would not just begin with a call from Jack, but with a commitment to herself and her dreams. Perhaps, like a spark igniting a fire, this moment could weave the fabric of a new life. Fingers are crossed and hopeful. She fell asleep with visions of possibilities, but a familiar refrain echoed in her mind. Was she ready for the pressures ahead, or would they overwhelm her? And then there was a larger question that loomed. Could she truly trust Jack, or would sharing her dreams place them in danger? As her eyelids grew heavy, the fabric of reality shifted hauntingly, and the specter of her choices lingered like an unanswered question, igniting a more profound tension within her. What awaited her in the following days could shift the trajectory of her life forever. The morning sun spilled into the room like liquid gold, flooding Lisa's senses with warmth and possibility. She blinked awake, her heart still echoing with the whispered promise she had made to herself the night before. Today was the day everything could change. As she sipped her coffee, steam rising and curling in the air, she could almost feel the nervous energy radiating from her fingertips. The prospect of speaking with Jack was both exhilarating and terrifying. Could she articulate her dreams well enough to inspire confidence in someone as seemingly untouchable as him? Thoughts of Emily brought her back to reality. Her daughter would need her today as much as she needed to embrace the possibility of a better future for them both. Lisa watched her little girl, still in pajamas, lost in a world of crayons and stickers. The innocence of that moment struck her deep, prompting a fierce drive to create a world filled with more than just mere survival. Determined, Lisa set aside her self-doubt. She compiled a notebook filled with ideas, sketches, and her vision for the bakery she had long dreamed of opening. Each page was a testament to her hopes, ambitions, and the love she poured into her plans. The words flowed with fervor. The bakery would celebrate community. It would be a nurturing environment where children and mothers could find joy. But with that vision swirling in her mind came the persistent voice of anxiety. What if her ideas weren't good enough? What if she stumbled over her words in front of Jack? Could she truly balance motherhood and the demands of a new venture? Suddenly, her phone buzzed, and her heart raced. A text from Jack broke through her swirling thoughts. "Lisa, are you ready for our call? I'm excited to discuss your dreams." The anticipation sent adrenaline coursing through her veins. She took a deep breath, focusing on the possibilities rather than her fears. This was not merely a conversation. It was a chance to rewrite her story. Surrounded by her noted aspirations, she felt emboldened. "Ready as I'll ever be," she texted back, steeling herself against the tide of self-doubt surging within. The call was quick to follow. Jack's voice came through the speaker, smooth and confident. "Hey, Lisa, I'm really glad you reached out. I've been thinking about your ideas since we last met. Let's dive in." The conversation flowed effortlessly, a revealing dance where Jack's questions compelled her to articulate her vision with clarity and passion. She spoke of the bakery with an enthusiasm that surprised even her. "What do you think the biggest challenge will be?" he asked, diving deeper. Lisa paused, her mind racing. A flicker of doubt threatened to dim her enthusiasm, but she pushed it aside. "Honestly, the biggest challenge might be showing that I can succeed in an environment that feels so foreign. But I believe in my ideas and what I can bring to the table." She steadied her breath, the weight of her potential filling the silence. Jack's voice was warm, but she sensed something more. His curiosity about her fortitude, her ability to face the complexities of building a business as a single mother. "I believe in that spirit. You're capable of far more than merely surviving, Lisa. You have the passion, and that's pivotal. I can help you refine your business plan, tighten your pitch, and prepare for the scholarship application." Energy sparked between them, igniting a rapport that felt both empowering and dangerous. With each exchange, Lisa found herself leaning into the enthusiasm she had bottled up for so long. The more they talked, the clearer it became that Jack wasn't merely a mentor. He was a collaborator, equally invested in her aspirations. Yet beneath the growing excitement was a gnawing wonder. How much of her ambition was bound to Jack's influence? The duality of her feelings motivated her to know this relationship more deeply, both personally and professionally. As the conversation came to a close, Jack sensed her lingering hesitation. "Let's set a date to meet in person. We can work on your pitch together. This opportunity is yours for the taking, Lisa. Remember that." With that, exhilaration mixed with apprehension. She accepted his invitation, reflecting on the underlying challenge ahead. Weeks of strategizing loomed before her, where she needed to not only impress Jack, but also embody the courage to pursue the scholarship and redefine how she viewed herself. As she hung up, each inhalation filled with the possibility of both hope and fear. Could she trust him with her dreams, or would vulnerability manifest into dependency? With her heart racing, Lisa realized that the real test was just beginning, testing her resolve amidst the very pressures that had once paralyzed her. The path ahead was both illuminated and shadowed, and she stood on the precipice of something new. Was she truly ready to embrace the complexities of this budding collaboration? And as those thoughts echoed in her mind, another question loomed richer than the rest. How would she ensure that her aspirations remained hers in the face of intertwining ambitions? The days following her call with Jack seemed to pass in a blur of activity and reflection. Lisa found herself caught between excitement and an overwhelming tide of self-doubt. She spent late nights poring over her notebook, meticulously refining each detail of her bakery concept. The images danced in her mind, an inviting space adorned with warm colors, the sweet scent of freshly baked goods wafting through the air, children laughing and sharing stories. As she sat at the kitchen table with crayons and sketches strewn across the surface, Emily would occasionally peek over her shoulder, filled with curiosity. Lisa caught herself imagining how her daughter would thrive in that environment, surrounded by the joy and creativity she longed to foster in their lives. Each vision brought clarity to her mission, but with that clarity came nagging questions. Was her dream worthy of investment and support? Did she possess the capability to transform abstract ideas into a tangible business? These questions became corners of doubt simmering beneath the surface, taunting her resolve. The night before her scheduled meeting with Jack, sleep evaded her, each tick of the clock amplifying her anxieties. The shadows of uncertainty loomed larger, whispering fears of failure and inadequacy. Could she present her passion without appearing desperate? Would her vision resonate with him, or would he see just a single mother playing at entrepreneurship? By morning, she was frayed but determined. Dressed in a modest ensemble, she made her way to the cafe where they would meet. As she walked, she fought against the apprehension that threatened to steal her courage. Each step felt like a pulse, a reminder of the weight of this moment. This was not merely a conversation, but an opportunity to step toward a future she had dared to dream. Jack was already seated when she arrived, a cup of coffee steaming alongside his laptop. His welcoming smile stirred a flicker of warmth within her. "Hey, Lisa, I'm glad to see you. Are you as pumped as I am?" His enthusiasm was infectious, disarming her trepidation for a fleeting moment. As they settled into their discussion, she found herself oscillating between confidence and doubt, sharing her vision with an earnestness that surprised her. Jack listened intently, his expression betraying the excitement she dared to hope for. "I love the sense of community you're envisioning. It really speaks to your values as a mother and entrepreneur." Encouraged by his affirmation, she delved deeper, revealing not just the business plan, but also the heart behind the bakery, the connection to families, the way it could uplift individuals in need of comfort and nourishment. Yet, just as momentum surged, so too did the familiar shadows of doubt when Jack posed a thoughtless question that hit too close to home. What will you do when things become overwhelming? Balancing everything is tough. The question felt like a spotlight revealing her vulnerabilities. Lisa's mind raced, grappling with the implications. "I may need to lean on my support network, but honestly, I'm terrified of asking for help. I fear it might show weakness." Jack's expression softened. "But it's not weakness, it's strength. You recognize your limits. There's a difference between vulnerability and dependency. They're not the same." His words echoed within her, igniting a realization. Striving for success was not a solitary endeavor. It required community and honesty. Perhaps fostering connections beyond her ambitions could empower her, rather than weaken her resolve. Their conversation meandered through strategic planning, marketing approaches, and realities of operating a business. Lisa found herself delighting in this collaboration, reveling in the exchange of ideas with someone who believed in her potential. But as they moved closer to finalizing plans, another layer of complexity emerged. Would she be willing to involve Jack in her dream, sharing both the glory and the challenges? The intricate dance of professionalism and personal attachment threatened to blur boundaries. The session wrapped up with tangible steps they would both pursue in the coming weeks. Homework for Lisa that involved refining her vision board and preparing a pitch presentation. Jack laid out a calendar, maintaining an encouraging tone. "I'm here to support you, Lisa. Let's make this happen together." As she left the cafe, the weight of uncertainty still played against her ambitions, but hope flickered brighter. She envisioned her daughter in the bakery, radiant with joy and belonging. And for that future, Lisa felt ready to face the complexities ahead. With each passing moment, she sensed that not only was she navigating a business endeavor, but she was also on a quest to uncover her true self, one that could embrace both the struggles and victories that lay on the horizon. Yet as she stepped out into the bustling street, one thought loomed larger than the rest. Could embracing vulnerability propel her forward, or would it open doors to influences that risked drowning out her voice? The days that followed her meeting with Jack were an intricate tapestry of work and self-discovery. Lisa poured her energy into the tasks assigned. She spent her evenings not just refining the pitch board, but also rediscovering her own narrative. Each sketched element of her bakery concept became a reflection of her mindset, a testament to her growth. As she sat at the kitchen table once more, the air thick with determination, she felt a shift within herself. There were moments when the familiar pangs of doubt threatened to creep in. Yet each time, she reminded herself of Jack's words about strength being rooted in vulnerability. There was exhilaration in that acknowledgement, an understanding that her openness could build bridges, not barricades. Emily was her silent cheerleader. The little girl, unbothered by adult complexities, would draw pictures of their future bakery together, nestling her crayons between sketches of cakes and pastries. "Mommy, look, this can be our Get Your Cupcake and Smile wall," she exclaimed one afternoon, prompting a rippling laughter from Lisa. It was as if Emily's innocence challenged Lisa to approach her aspirations with the same simplicity and joy. Determined not to shy away from complications, she began to reach out, not just to friends, but to other local entrepreneurs. Some evenings, she would schedule casual meetups at community cafes, eager to gather insights and share her own evolving story. With each conversation, she discovered a shared vulnerability in others. Understated yet powerful narratives echoed her own fears and triumphs. It was during one such gathering that she met Cassie, a vibrant woman who owned a boutique attached to a nearby artisanal market. Cassie exuded a palpable energy that drew Lisa in. Their connection was almost instantaneous, as they exchanged ideas and dreams over steaming cups. Cassie's purpose-filled mission mirrored Lisa's own. Both longed to create spaces of warmth and community. "Tell me about your bakery," Cassie prompted, her excitement palpable. As Lisa elaborated on her vision, she felt invigorated. The way Cassie listened affirmed that she had a voice worth sharing. They traded stories about balancing motherhood with professional ambitions, finding solace in their shared struggles. Lisa left the cafe that night feeling lighter, less burdened by her self-doubt. Every laugh shared seemed to chip away at the walls she had built in her mind. Yet, in the quiet of the night, a deeper unease stirred. Her relationship with Jack was evolving into an intricate dynamic. The blending of friendship and professional ambition presented a maze she had not anticipated. Every interaction left her with a question. Was she ready to forge this partnership and lay her dreams in someone else's hands? Could she genuinely collaborate without sacrificing her individuality? Days later, with her newfound confidence, Lisa sat at her desk piecing together her presentation. It was in an unexpected moment, a flicker of inspiration sparked by a birthday candle Emily had drawn a few nights before. that clarity emerged. She decided to weave a personal story into her pitch, not just outlining her business model, but revealing her journey as a mother and entrepreneur, how the sweetness of her bakery would reflect the joys of childhood, the laughter, the warmth, and the nurturing that she yearned to share. However, the pivotal moment arrived when she paused, a question spiraling in her mind. What if leaning on Jack meant risking a precious part of herself? As Lisa finalized the presentation, her heart raced, a mixture of anticipation and trepidation coursing through her. Could she truly share this vision while remaining unguarded? With footsteps echoing doubt and faith, she sensed she stood on the brink of something significant, something that would define both her bakery and her newfound identity. She took a deep breath, realizing that her next step could either ground her or unravel everything she strived for. Was she ready to embrace the full weight of her dreams, including a partnership that might reshape her vision? And as her phone pinged with a message from Jack about their upcoming meeting, uncertainty returned with a rush. This was but the beginning of a far more complex journey. The early morning light filtered through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow that contrasted sharply with the storm brewing inside Lisa's mind. Today was the day. The presentation would either cement her burgeoning aspirations or ignite a cascade of uncertainties she had fought so hard to navigate. As she assembled her materials, each piece felt both familiar and foreign, like the edges of a puzzle that refused to fit. Having poured her heart into the narrative, she felt the weight of her choices pressing against her chest. What if Jack didn't see the vision as she did? What if he dismissed her personal story, reducing it to mere fluff in a business meeting? The insecurity magnified with each passing moment. She fought against the spiraling thoughts, trying to ground herself in the confidence she had built alongside Emily's artwork and Cassie's encouragement. As she stepped outside, the crisp air of early fall slapped against her skin, shocking her back to the present. Lisa closed her eyes for a brief moment, allowing herself to breathe in the surroundings. A small corner of her heart acknowledged that her relationship with Jack could hold untold potential, but clarity was clouded by her fears. She quickened her pace toward Jack's office, her heart thudding like a drum in her chest while her mind raced through a dozen scenarios. When she arrived, the office building loomed over her, its sleek glass facade reflecting both the sunlight and her apprehensions. Taking a deep breath, she reminded herself of Emily's drawing, the innocence of a cupcake and a smile. It was a simple illustration, but infused with profound meaning. She realized she had to convey that same simplicity and warmth to Jack. As she entered the elegant office, her eyes met Jack's, and the room was charged with a vibrant tension. He greeted her with a smile, a mixture of professional warmth and personal connection that made her feel both at ease and exposed. "Ready?" he asked, motioning toward the conference room. Lisa nodded, her body betraying her calm facade by betraying an almost imperceptible tremor. Inside the room, she set her presentation materials down and took her seat across from Jack. As they launched into the dialogue, she spoke passionately about her bakery concept, the community she wanted to foster, and the significance of making delicious, joyful experiences. Then came the moment she had prepared for, the pivot to her personal journey. She laid bare her vulnerabilities, the balancing act of motherhood and ambition. "This bakery isn't just a business to me. It's a reflection of how I want to nurture not just my daughter, but also the community I'm part of," she said, allowing her conviction to saturate each word. Jack listened intently, his gaze unwavering. There was a flicker of understanding in his eyes as she spoke. He was no longer merely a potential partner, but an ally who might understand the depth of her vision. When she finished, silence enveloped the room like a comforting blanket. "Lisa, your story resonates with me more than you know," Jack finally replied, his voice thick with emotion. He revealed that he too had grappled with the weight of personal aspirations versus professional responsibilities. It was in that shared moment of vulnerability that Lisa felt a connection she hadn't anticipated, but just as hope began to swell within her, an unsettling realization dawned. Personal connections could easily evolve into liabilities. What were the boundaries of this partnership? If passion was pouring forth so readily, what would remain of her individuality? In that charged silence, Lisa faced a hidden reality. Could this collaboration reshape her vision in ways that she couldn't control? The question hung between them, heavy and palpable. The moment of truth loomed, and with it came a confrontation with her deepest fears about vulnerability, becoming a double-edged sword in both personal and professional contexts. As they began to discuss next steps, Lisa's thoughts whirled on the precipice of an uncertain yet thrilling journey. Would she express her concerns openly, or would she risk losing the connection they had just forged? The air felt electric, as if the universe awaited her next move, and uncertainty twisted in her stomach as she prepared to make a choice that might change everything. How would she navigate this intricate dance between ambition and intimacy? It was clear that the evolution of her dreams was only just beginning. As Lisa and Jack exchanged tentative ideas about the next phases of their partnership, the complexity of her emotions deepened into a tangled web. She could not shake the apprehension that her dreams might be diluted in the process of sharing her vision with him. There was an undeniable chemistry, yet entwined with it was the fear of losing herself in a collaboration that could redefine her abilities and dreams. Jack's insights had injected new life into her concept, yet every shared laugh and appreciative nod pulled her deeper into the shadows of vulnerability. What if he wants more than just a business partner? She mused internally, the possibility taking form like an overshadowing cloud. Questions filtered through her mind. Would her identity be subsumed in this partnership? Could she remain true to her essence as they navigated the complexities of entrepreneurship together? Let's focus on what we can achieve together, Jack suggested, jolting her back to reality. The authoritative tone in his voice masked an underlying sincerity, urging her to think beyond her hesitation. The issue lay not just in the fear of losing control. It was about understanding the boundaries of professionalism versus personal connection. I appreciate your enthusiasm, Jack, she replied, choosing her words carefully. But I want to ensure that the core values of this bakery reflect my vision, my journey, and the community I cherish. It's essential for me to lead this. Jack nodded thoughtfully. I respect that. Perhaps we can set clear expectations and boundaries. I don't want this to challenge your authenticity. His willingness to validate her concerns breathed life into her aspirations, adorning her vision with newfound legitimacy. A flicker of relief washed over Lisa, but it felt precarious. She yearned for Jack to truly see her, not just as a partner in business, but as a multifaceted individual with fears and dreams uniquely her own. The tension eased slightly, yet the nagging doubts lingered in the background, ugly and persistent. Taking a deep breath, she leaned into the moment, aware of the fragile dance they were engaged in. Could we perhaps develop a framework together? She proposed. The weight of the situation sharpened her clarity. If we establish our roles early on, it might alleviate some of those fears. We could create a structure, something that honors both our visions while keeping our personal aspirations intact. Jack's eyes widened with appreciation at her proposal. That's a great idea, Lisa. I want this to feel collaborative, not corporate. I want us both to feel like we're contributing to something meaningful without compromising our individuality. In the ensuing hours, they built the framework for their partnership, creating guidelines that allowed Lisa to anchor herself firmly in a landscape filled with potential but underscored by personal stakes. Ideas flowed freely between them, and for each piece of structure they established, a sense of mutual respect grew. By the time the meeting concluded, a palpable shift had occurred. Lisa felt a burgeoning confidence coursing through her veins, a stark contrast to the trepidation of their earlier discussions. She glanced at Jack, recognizing the significant ground they had covered together. Driving home, she grappled with the realization that positivity could indeed coexist alongside fear, that anxiety could motivate purposeful action rather than paralysis. The journey was daunting, but she felt a renewed sense of ownership over her vision, However, lurking beneath the surface were the unanswered questions about her evolving relationship with Jack. Would this partnership become a true alliance or a breeding ground for conflict? Each turn of the road felt laden with open-ended possibilities, and the tension in her stomach twisted again. If vulnerability was the crucible of growth, what else was she willing to lose in pursuit of this dream? As she entered her home, a whisper of apprehension settled in her heart. How would she balance ambition with the emotional weight of a partnership that was proving to be as intricate as it was promising? With the bakery concept taking root, Lisa was on the cusp of transformation, but the realization loomed. The heart of change was not just external, but deeply internal. She was ready to step into this new phase. But what would the next choice cost her? Lisa's mind raced as she sat at the kitchen table, dimly lit by the glow of a solitary bulb above. The remnants of dinner lay abandoned, a half-eaten slice of quiche barely touched. Her heart hummed with the energy of newfound determination, yet beneath that were the insidious whispers of doubt. With Jack's encouragement still echoing in her ears, she resolved to take the next step in her plan for the bakery. The ideas they had exchanged felt electrifying, but sharing her space meant confronting her insecurities head-on. She couldn't afford to waver now. She pulled out her notebook, pages still blank and full of potential. The minimalistic outline of the bakery's vision danced in her mind. Community, quality, innovation. But what would bring these values to life? It struck her then. She had always shied away from showcasing her baked goods beyond her small circle of friends. What if this was the moment to share her creations with a larger audience? A flutter of excitement rose within her. She needed to test her limits, to dive into the very essence of who she was. Suddenly, the thought of hosting a small gathering excited her. A taste test of sorts, inviting a few trusted friends to sample her newest recipes might be the perfect first step. Each invitation would not just bring critiques but fuel her growing ambition. Yet the fear quickly followed. What if they didn't like it? Confronting the reality of her insecurities felt like sailing into uncharted waters. Lisa scribbled a plan, deliberating how best to structure this taste test. Where to host, which recipes to select, and how to mentally prepare for feedback. She could hear her mother's voice cautioning her about the vulnerability of sharing her art. Stepping away from the comfort zone could risk rejection, but the yearning for validation grew stronger. Embracing her authenticity meant risking that very rejection. Sleep eluded her that night as images of baked goods swirled in her mind, each more elaborate than the last. The tension between the fear of judgment and the desire to soar in this new venture tightened around her chest. She soon realized that every moment of discomfort was a compulsory step on her path toward growth. The following day, she navigated her way through the grocery store as if on a mission, gliding past aisles filled with bright packaging and odd concoctions. Opting for ingredients that resonated with her, organic flour, free-range eggs, fresh fruits, she felt an exhilarating sense of control. This was her creation process, and she could shape it the way she desired. Returning home, she set to work. The kitchen transformed into her sanctuary, the aroma of vanilla and lemon intertwined, filling the air with promise. As the oven hummed, she couldn't help but feel empowered. Each stir and mix unlocked a part of her she had almost forgotten existed. And as she sliced through warm cakes, a glimmer of joy danced within her, pushing aside the apprehension. But as she plated the array of treats, her thoughts turned to the gathering again. Would her friends understand her vision? Would they perceive this as authentic dedication, or simply a casual exercise? Would Jack even make time to attend? The questions spiraled and landed heavily on her mind as she constantly shifted from excitement to fear. In the weeks leading up to the taste test, Lisa dedicated herself to refining her recipes, showing up for herself in ways she never had. The connection with her craft deepened alongside her budding partnership with Jack. Yet, as each day passed, the looming question remained. How would they both fit into her overarching narrative? The evening finally arrived. Friends began to filter through her door, excitement and nerves colliding within her. As she greeted them, her pulse quickened. The time had come to reveal a piece of herself that she had kept hidden, an unveiling of not just her baked goods but of her very essence. As laughter and conversation ebbed and flowed around her, she felt a moment of clarity wash over her. It was not just the taste of sugar that she longed to share, but the taste of her journey. Suddenly, she could sense a shift. Could this collaboration redefine who she was, in a way she had never imagined? Yet lingering in the back of her mind was Jack's face, the abundance of unspoken potential sitting between them, and the uncertainty if their partnership would weather such openness. As she prepared to present her creations, anticipation mingled with dread. Would this taste of success be the launch pad she hoped for, or merely a tentative step into unknown territories? With her heart pounding, Lisa turned to face her friends, ready to serve a slice of her dreams, completely untethered from hesitation. What truths would emerge from the vibrant exchange? Would the night turn into something far more significant than she anticipated? That evening, with her friends gathered in her cozy living room, Lisa felt a surge of excitement coupled with an undercurrent of anxiety. The table was adorned with an array of her freshly baked goods, rich chocolate cupcakes, tangy lemon bars, and decadent red velvet cake. The scents wafting through the air were intoxicating, a testament to the hours of experimentation and dedication she had poured into perfecting each recipe. "Wow, Lisa, this looks incredible," Sarah, her longtime friend, exclaimed as she approached the table. The warmth of their camaraderie eased some of Lisa's tension, her heart swelling with pride. This was not just about the desserts. It was about sharing a part of herself, her journey, the dreams she had nurtured alongside her daughter. As her friends sampled the treats, laughter echoed around the room. Each bite sparked spirited conversations and genuine appreciation. Lisa couldn't help but bask in the joy radiating from her guests. Their enthusiasm was infectious, reigniting the hope she had once feared was extinguishing. This tasted like success, not just in flavors but in connection. "Lisa, this cupcake is amazing. What's the secret?" Jake asked, his mouth full as he savored every morsel. Lisa smiled, feeling a rush of validation. "No secret, just love and a little bit of experimentation." She grinned, recalling the uncertainty that had clouded her vision just weeks prior. In that moment, she recognized her growth, not just in baking, but in her willingness to embrace vulnerability. She had taken the leap, and in return, the universe seemed to be rewarding her efforts. As the evening wore on, she could see the spark of possibility reflected in her friend's eyes. Crushing her doubts felt liberating. She'd created not only delicious food, but an atmosphere of warmth, joy, and hope for her venture. This was her community. This was what she wanted to build, a place where others could find solace and connection through the simplicity of baked goods. Of course, she could not shake the thought that Jack would have loved this. Since their first meeting, he had inspired her to see beyond her self-imposed limitations. Yet, she hesitated to call him. Would sharing her success and vulnerability with him deepen their professional bond, or could it complicate things further? As night slipped into the early hours of morning, Lisa reveled in the shared experiences and laughter. The energy in the room filled her with conviction. This was her calling. For the first time, she felt ready to embrace the path ahead, partnerships and all. In the days that followed, buoyed by her taste test success, Lisa initiated conversations with Jack about the logistics of turning her dream into reality. Their discussions took on a new dimension. She was no longer timid or uncertain, but held a palpable sense of ownership over her vision. During one particularly intense brainstorming session, she articulated her aspirations with conviction. "This bakery will not merely be a business for profits. It will be a community hub where people can gather, connect, and heal through sweet moments. I want to be the heart of that space, Jack." His respect for her vision radiated through the air. "I can see it now, Lisa. You're on the right track and I'm excited to stand alongside you," Jack replied, a smile spreading across his face. Yet, as they plotted paths and drafted business plans, Lisa acutely felt the delicate balance of their partnership. The friendly rapport was undeniably energizing, yet her vulnerability reminded her of the risks. She would need to protect her creative identity while relying on Jack's guidance. One afternoon, as they wrapped up a particularly productive meeting, Lisa made the decision to voice her concerns. "Jack, I value our collaboration, but I must be clear about my vision. The heart of this bakery must reflect my authenticity. My story and ambition should not be overshadowed." Jack listened intently, nodding in understanding. "I get it, Lisa. It's important to retain your voice. My role is to support your vision, not dictate it. We're in this together, and I trust you to lead." With those reassuring words, Lisa felt a wave of relief wash over her. She could stand firm in her identity while embracing the complexities of building her bakery. It was more than just a space for baked goods. It was a reflection of her journey, each dessert a piece of her mission and heart. As the weeks passed, momentum swelled. They approached deadlines with newfound dynamism, gathering community insights to fine-tune her business strategy. Each transaction, each conversation felt like stepping stones leading her closer to her dream. Time moved quickly, and soon enough, the day came for the grand opening of her bakery. Lisa stood in the sunlit space, surrounded by the vibrant warmth of community and the intoxicating scent of fresh pastries. The walls were adorned with photographs of her journey, Emily's drawings, intimate moments, and the heartwarming essence of motherhood intertwined with her ambitions. The doors opened, and waves of patrons flooded in. Her heart raced as familiar faces and new friends filled the bakery, laughter and chatter creating a symphony of joy in the air. Each sweet transaction felt like profound recognition, validation of her hard work and resilience. In that moment, Lisa realized how far she had come. She had conquered not just the fears that had once paralyzed her, but had also embraced the vulnerability that allowed her relationships to thrive, both professionally with Jack and personally with the community she had created. Lisa stood firm at the center of it all, a reflection of the dreams she had dared to chase, transformed into tangible reality. As she engaged with customers, her life unfolded not just as a single mother or a budding entrepreneur. She had transformed into a beacon of hope and inspiration for others navigating their journeys. Fulfillment flooded her heart, eclipsing every fear she had carried. And just like that, Lisa had not only opened her bakery, she had opened herself to a future filled with possibility, courage, and an unwavering commitment to her own truth. The dreams that began with a flickering birthday candle had ignited a fire that would continue to burn brightly, one that would inspire not just her, but the countless individuals who found solace in the sweets she created. Ultimately, Lisa had proven to herself that persistence, vulnerability, and authenticity were the ingredients for true success. The impact of her journey rippled far beyond the bakery, establishing her as a symbol of resilience and empowerment. And with that thought lodged firmly in her heart, she realized that every moment of fear had transformed into a life-defining moment she would hold dear forever. Now it was your turn to act. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes a difference. Comment below and share your reactions and theories about Lisa's journey, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring conclusion. Your engagement helps forge connections and share stories that touch lives.